Well, I have quite a few memories of Bill, but they were way before Mia and Karamia and Billy Edward. I never heard of Mullinnixes in my life, and I graduated high school and looking for a job. I got a girlfriend that was working in Georgetown. She called and said Bud Mullinnix was in, said they needed a bookkeeper. Get over there now. I called, and Bill says, well, come over now. This is a girl who had been in the tobacco patch all day long. Looked like I was burnt to a crisp. Came over, met Bill and Bud, and that was the beginning of 21 years of me working with Bill. Bud was probably the hardest taskmaster ever, but I finally learned, and after a year and a half, Bud retired. A lot of people thought Bud gave the business to Bill. I heard this all over town. Bill got money handed to him by his mom and dad. If you knew the true story, Bill paid Bud every year, and when I left 21 years later, he was still paying Bud for that business. Bud never gave an inch to anyone. He loved him to death, but he wanted him to know sure he knew how to run a business. Bill ran it very well. After a year, he decided he needed another agent to come in and help him. Well, he got Ned Swearingen to come in and join him in the business. Bill didn't have good luck with having men come in the office. Ned died that fall. I got him in January, and he had a heart attack and died in December. So it was once again Bill running the office by himself. He worked very hard. It's another misconception in Georgetown. Bill never got to work till 10 o'clock in the morning. He wasn't a morning one to read his paper and do everything at home. Then he finally got into the office. From then till 5 o'clock, except when he went to lunch up at his mom's every day, Bill worked hard, very hard. Was well liked by everybody. Everybody came in, wanted to talk to Bill. He tried to get his work done, but it was a lot of conversation coming into the office all the time. And the two that worked for him the most were me, of course, and Bev Cropper. She's here today. He decided to take us in for plane ride. Okay, we went in the plane. It was his four-seater. No problem. He didn't crash us. He decided to turn the plane upside down and see what we would do. You talk about, I didn't freak out, but I was almost freaking out. And he knew it. He thought that was the funniest thing in the entire world, that he could turn the plane upside down. But it didn't take very long, and he turned it the right way. And when we got down, we said, we're never riding with you again. Let's see. Bill was quite an entrepreneur. He did start the first rent-a-car in Georgetown, and it was called Enterprise. Somebody had a wreck and their car was totaled. We had the insurance. Guess what? The car was right there. He could rent it to them for a day, a month, or whatever it took to get repaired. Other people came. He made quite a bit off of that Enterprise with these cars. He wasn't finished there. He decided he thought he would buy the bar or restaurant in Georgetown. He bought what was then called the Village Inn. Well, he found out after a year or so, this really wasn't what he was wanting. Guess who had to make sure that they were all paid? And when he went to Finland for 6 weeks, guess who had to go up and check the bar every day and make sure everything's going? A girl who doesn't know one thing about a bar was in there every day checking everything out, getting payroll, making sure they showed up. And he was always smiling. I never had the first crossword with Bill in 21 years. He never, ever put me down. I was off a lot with children that had problems. He gave me the time to be off, never said a word about it. And he was fine to work for. He really was. He never said a word. But his happiest, he went on a cruise and came back and said, you can't believe I met this most beautiful blonde. And I think she's going to come over and I really think I'm going to marry her. And we said, sure, you met her on a trip over in European country. I'm sure she's going to come over here. Well, Mia did come over here, and he was very happy. Happiest days is when Mia was born and Billy Edward was born. He was so happy that he had another girl and another boy. He was just tickled pink. And to cut it short, Bill was just a good employer. Bill was a good person, and I'll always remember that smile. He never quit smiling. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Vic Thomas is next. He's not here. Is there anyone else that would care to come forward and share a memory? I'd like to thank everyone who has shared, and it's been a joy to hear this. And when we talk about coming and sharing and celebrating Bill's life, I think you've done that very, very well through the pictures, through the music that was played during that time, and through all of your sharing. And the sharing continues. It's not just right now, it's not just today, but it is always. As these youngsters grow, they're going to hear more stories, and more things are going to be shared and remembered. And believe it or not, as the days and the months go by, Bill will not be forgotten, but he will continue to surface. You will remember the smiles, you will remember the funny things he said, and the joys that he shared with each one of you. And in some ways, he will become even closer now than what he's been able to be the last few years. So that is something else that we certainly celebrate, God's gift of memory and connection. We do celebrate those things. Now we would like to play a beautiful, absolutely beautiful piece of music, Ave Maria.